The government's sluggish response to the bloodbath in the Tana Delta has led to outrage among Kenyans, with many wondering just how Kenyan security forces, with all their resources and training, could have been caught napping by a band of villagers who don't appear to have any sort of military training. But as Kenyans put the spotlight on the security forces, Kenya Police Deputy Spokesman Charles Owino weighed in with this.
It is now the time for the leaders to come up, and more so the cabinet, and give instructions to the police to use force fairly. Because even if you take the military and they go there and use their firearms as decorations in our badges of rank, then these primitive criminals will still come and attack them. But we are not going to move in and use force or firearms while the leaders are quiet about it, because we don't want to give a situation where you are going to call us trigger happy, where you are going to open a tribunal against our commissioner that we have killed people in this country.
It's a shocking statement from a man who's taken an oath to safeguard life and property. But let's face it, are the police truly impotent when it comes to fighting criminals? Owino implies that with the enactment of the new constitution, new rules have inhibited the powers of the police to enforce law and order. The wording of the Police Act is very clear. The force is expected to not only preserve peace, life and property, but it must also play an active role in the prevention and detection of crime. Sources with the police force say the hands of the police are tied, as any use of force can be deemed excessive when dealing with armed gangs out to kill and maim. So could this have been the case in Tana River? Were the police reluctant to use force in that area as criminals pillaged and razed entire villages? Well, the deputy police spokesman says, owing to restrictions in the constitution, cabinet should first authorize the police to use force in quelling clashes. But what exactly constitutes excessive force, and do the police require cabinet's approval to act? What is not in doubt is the fact that in the past, the police have used excessive force against helpless Kenyans when it was not warranted. For instance, beating up innocent demonstrators who do not pose any threat to property, or being used as a political tool to violently disrupt opposition protest marches. Following the post-election violence, the police were accused of using excessive force to quell the riots, leading to its then-chief, Hussein Ali, appearing before the International Criminal Court. Ali was, however, acquitted of all charges. Other observers see Owino's reaction as part of a ploy within the force to fight comprehensive police reforms that might see a civilian inspector general at its helm. And so, could the absence of more boots on the ground from the day the murderous gangs attacked have been intentional? This theory is highly unlikely, but what is clear, though, is that some elements within the police force are out to safeguard the status quo. What is worrying in all of this is the fact that the police appear to lack intelligence from the ground. Security analysts are questioning how highly trained police officers could have been caught off guard, leading to the deaths of 9 of their men. Attacks of this nature normally require prior planning. Do we really have National Security Intelligence Service operatives in Tana River? And if so, have they been sleeping on the job, or were their reports ignored, just like was the case in 2008 over post-election violence? Cyprian Nyamwamu, a rights activist, says it's time Parliament compelled the National Intelligence Service to tell Kenyans just what information they had on the Tana Delta attacks and who they gave it to. Should the police have been found not to have acted, the NSIS Act 2012 states that any government agent who does not use the information given by the service to safeguard national security can be taken to court for negligence. But Owino may still have a point. There may have been many incidents of police officers being killed in the line of duty, and they're just statistics, but the situation changes when police officers use force against well-armed gangsters, and then human rights groups rush to castigate them over alleged use of excessive force. Could it be a case of being damned if you do and damned if you don't? That question begs for answers. Have we made our policemen impotent? The verdict is yours. Be the judge. And Kiguta, KTN Prime.